I started with 3D printing, there was this one thing that bothered me the most, and that's being able to actually design a 3D object and printing it out on my 3D printer. It was nice downloading things from Thingiverse and so on, but in the end I always wanted to be able to design my own things and print it out. But I dreaded having to learn a 3D program like Fusion 360. So in this tutorial I'd like to show you how I learned it and how you can too draw things like this. So in this design I created a NES controller, and it's really simple to create this. All this is a couple of rectangles that's been extruded and cut using the extrusion tool, and using sketches with rectangles from a center point and circles. So let me show you how I learned Fusion 360 and how you can also learn how to do this very quickly. So before we start it, the caveat: I am not an instructor, I do not do tutorials, it's not my thing, but I thought it would be helpful if I can show people how I started and how I'm doing things right now. There may be a few things which I'm doing wrong and you may be learning my bad habits, but I can assure you that if you do it my way, you'll most certainly be able to at least draw something, because right now I'm very comfortable in drawing things and in a relatively short time. So the first things first, we want to start off by creating a new document, and then on the left you'll have a hierarchy. So now we have a new document, it's just a blank screen. In the hierarchy, the first thing I normally do is I click origin, and it shows you the origin. The origin is basically the center point of where your drawing will be. So if you had to draw something, and I'll quickly show you. So let's say we draw something right in the middle, we make it 50 by 50, and we extrude this by 25, and we extrude the bottom by 25. We have a cube that's right in the center of this. If we had to draw it on the side, and this is how I normally do it, once your objects become bigger, it can become a little bit tricky to navigate or rotate your objects. So if your object's right in the center, it's easier to manage. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is draw a sketch. Now in Fusion you've got two modes, you've got object mode and you've got sketch mode. In sketch mode, obviously you draw your sketches, you exit sketch mode, and then you can extrude those sketches into objects. So to draw a line, you first have to press L on the keyboard. That will tell Fusion that you're about to enter sketch mode, but you have to tell Fusion on which face that you want to draw. If you don't know what a face is, on the top right hand corner you've got this little block, and it's got 6 sides. So top is a face, front is a face, left is a face, back is a face, right is a face, and then obviously bottom is also a face. So you can also use this block to center your drawing. So if I click on top, it'll immediately take me to the top view, and if it was the wrong way around, you can press these little arrows to rotate it until it's right. So after we pressed L, we click on the face that we want to draw. So we're going to click anywhere, and now we're basically in sketch mode. If you see this green icon with a checkbox on it that says finish sketch, then you know you're in sketch mode. So now that we're in sketch mode, you can press the S button on your keyboard, which is basically a shortcut to all of the drawing tools that I mainly use, which is 2-point rectangle, a line, a circle, and a rectangle. I never really use ellipse, and I quite often use offset. So for starters, we're going to use line. So we can click on line. So just to show you that menu again, you press S and you've got these options, and you click the one you want. Or you can just press L and it will immediately draw a line. So once we've selected the line tool, we will click anywhere. You'll see there's a little grid. I always choose the corner of a grid. I never go in the middle. Just helps to snap better later on in your design. So you basically click once and you move the mouse cursor. And as I move it down, you can see the length in that little text box that's floating. I never try and make the line by moving the mouse cursor until it's, let's say we want to make it 50. I never try and make it 50, because once you start getting comfortable with this, you will soon make mistakes, because you'll think it's 50 but it's then actually like 50.1 or something like that. So I always make the line longer than what I actually wanted by just moving the mouse down. I'm not clicking anything or dragging, I'm just moving the mouse, and then I take my hand off the mouse and I type 50 for 50. So now this will be 50 millimeters, and I press enter. So now I want to draw a cube, and we're going to extrude the cube. So if I press L on the keyboard again, click on the one end once, and I move the line and make it longer than what I wanted, you'll see there's also you can also change the angle. So just make sure that the angle says 0 degree, and if you go this way, it'll say 180 degree or 90 degree or 90 degree. So it's at 0 degree, it's 133 millimeters long. So I'm just going to take my hand off the mouse again, type 50, press enter, press L on the keyboard again, click where I want to draw from, move the mouse up longer than what I wanted, type 50, press enter, and now I can just connect the dots because it will automatically snap. Just another tip, if you move your mouse cursor along these lines, you'll see it makes like a little cross and a triangle. That indicates that it's the center. So if you wanted to draw from the center, you could snap to the center. So I'm just going to press Ctrl Z to take that line out. And now we've basically completed all of the dots and connected all of the dots together. So if we now had to extrude this, we can extrude it. But if these lines were not connected, you would not be able to extrude it because the drawing is not complete. So all of your dots has to be connected before you can extrude. So I'm just going to redraw this line. So now we're still in sketch mode. We now want to exit sketch mode. So if you go to the top right hand corner, it's got this green checkbox. It says finish sketch. So you can either just click on the green, or you can use the drop down if you want, but obviously it's quicker just to click finish sketch. Before I show you how to extrude this into a cube, there's one important thing that I need to show you, and that's how to navigate. Because if we had to extrude this and I click on the sketch to extrude, I can extrude it by typing it, but I can't actually see how far I'm extruding it. So it helps to see how far I'm extruding it. So we need to change our view a little bit, and in order to change the view, you need to know how to navigate. So in order to navigate, if you hold down the middle mouse button and you move the mouse, you can pan across your environment like that. So now I'm holding down the middle button and I can move around like that. If I want to zoom in and out, I just simply roll the mouse back and forth and I can zoom. But if we want to view it at a different angle, we can hold down Shift and the middle mouse button and then move the mouse. Now you can see now we have a better 3D view of our environments. So I'm just going to put it at an angle like that, and then I'm going to extrude. Right, so to extrude, you can press the Q button. So there's mainly 3 buttons that I use throughout the whole process. I use Q, S, and L. L to enter sketch mode, L and click anywhere on one of the faces, that'll enter sketch mode. S to bring up the menu, and obviously you press finish to get out of sketch mode, and to extrude things, and extrude is something that I use very often, so I use the shortcut. You can press S, it brings up a menu. Because we're not in sketch mode, this menu is slightly different. It's got tools to modify objects. We don't have an object yet because we need to extrude first. To extrude, you press Q, and then you can click on the face that you want to extrude, and then you can type how far you want to extrude it. You can grab the arrow and you can drag it up and down. If you go up, it goes positive. You can see that it's positive 85. If I go below the point where I started from, it will go into negative. So we want to extrude it up. I take my hand off the mouse and I type 50 and I press enter, and we now have a fully extruded cube. So if you look at this menu on the left hand side, you can see your drawings that you've created. So the square that we've created initially is the sketch, and now under bodies we have a body. So if we take away the extrusion, I pressed Ctrl Z to undo what I did, you can see there's no body. So we're going to just put the body back, and you can see it now has a body. So if I had to create another sketch and extrude it, it would create another body. So let's make this cube hollow, and in order to do that we need to first create a sketch which we can then going to extrude, but we're going to extrude into an existing body which will then result into cutting it basically, or carving it. I think carve is the correct word. So if I go to this cube at the top right hand corner and I click top, I press L and I click the face where I want to draw on, I can press S to bring up my little menu that we've spoken about before, and like I said, I often use offsets. I'm going to click offsets, click on the side of this drawing, and now we can draw an offset cube. We don't have to do this. We don't have to say L 1 millimeter, L 1 millimeter. We can just use an offset. So we're going to use offset, click there, and we're going to offset into the middle because we want our cube to be hollow and we want a wall that is 1 millimeter thick. So, and as you can see, it goes into negative, so I'm just going to type -1, press enter, and now we have a drawing on top of our body. But now to carve this, I need to exit sketch mode, and then again I'm going to just put it at an angle like that, holding down shift and the middle mouse button to rotate my object a little bit so I can see better. And then I'm going to press the Q button to extrude, and I'm going to choose what I want to extrude, and I'm only going to choose the middle part. If I wanted to choose both, I can hold down Control and I can also choose the outer line, but now I'm only going to extrude the middle part. So if we had to move this up, because it's not colliding into anything, it will just basically extend the box. However, if we move below the point where we're starting from, we are actually colliding into the actual body, and that will cause it to carve. You'll see the background kind of makes like a red background. So I'm going to move the mouse down, and I'm going to take my hand off the mouse and type -50 and press enter, and then we have a hollow cube. So we moved it down by 50, which means we now remove the bottom wall. So if I press Ctrl Z and I redo this, and I press Q to extrude, and I click the face I want to extrude, type -49, because we want a wall thickness of 1, so 50 minus 1 is 49, press enter. Another trick that you can do is if you press Ctrl Z, this can also be handy. So we undo our extrusion, we press Q, the face that we want to extrude, we can type -50 plus 1 is 49. So you can use it like a little calculator as well. So now we have a cube that is hollow. So let's say we want to put something back. So we want a cube with all its sides, and the contents must be completely hollow with a wall thickness of 1. So we're going to press L. We're going to click on this rim on the top, and now we're in sketch mode. We can just change it to our top view again, and we can just put it the right way around. We can press S to bring up our menu, and we can use rectangle. So I'm just going to go from this corner and drag the mouse all the way to the opposite corner and press and click the button. And now if I hold down shift, the middle mouse button, and move it, and I exit sketch mode. By the way, you can move and rotate your object in either modes, either sketch mode or object mode. So if you angle it so you can see better, and now we press Q and we click on the piece that we want to extrude, we can say -1. So now this cube is hollow on the inside, and it's got all of its sides, and it's got a wall thickness of 1 millimeter. So let's say this wasn't an enclosure and you want to make it look nice. There's some things that I also use. So in object mode, you can see it's not in sketch mode. The little green checkbox is not there. We press S. This is the extrude icon which we use, so we're not going to use that now. We're going to now try and use fillet. I in most cases use either chamfer or fillet. So I click on fillet, and I click the corner that I want to fillet, and if I want to fillet more than one corner at the same time, I can hold down Control, and I can click all of the corners, and then whilst that is selected, I can hold down Shift, middle mouse button, and move it around, and I can hold down Control again, and then select the side that I want. But if this side is on the back, you don't necessarily have to navigate to that side so you can see it. If you hold down Control and you move your mouse here, you can see it, it kind of chooses the line. The only thing is this line is on the inside and that line is on the outside. So you can see there at the bottom. So there's the inside line, that's the outside line. So that's why I always move so I can actually see which one I'm selecting. So you can see here, if I move it there we're selecting the inside. So once we've selected it, we can change the fillets. So I'm going to make this a 3mm fillet, and I just type 3. As you can see, it makes it like a rounded corner. However, because our wall thickness is only 1mm, you can't really go too wild. So let's make an example. So if I make this 10, you'll be cutting part of it away. So let's make it 1. Press enter, and now we've got a rounded corner. So if we wanted to make our corners even rounder, we could undo that. We can press L, select the face where we want to draw on, press S, choose the offset. We're basically going to take the lid off again. So we size this to -1, press enter, exit, sketch mode, move it so we can see, press Q, select the face I want to extrude, -1. So now we're back at where we were earlier on. So now if we want to fillet it, we're not in sketch mode. I press S, select the fillet, I hold down Control, and I choose the size that I want to fillet. So yeah, I'm choosing the inside and the outside, and now if I say 10, it will create a fillet on both sides. So you can do this one by one. So in the beginning, maybe it's advisable just to do them one by one. So you don't have to select and navigate and do everything. So I'm just going to do one by one. 10, press S, press fillet, move where I want it, choose the side I want, press type 10. And again, if we want to do both at the same time, we press S, choose fillet, choose that corner. I zoom so I can make sure I choose the correct corner on the inside. Same on this side, and same on this side. And I type 10, press enter. So if you use this trick, you'll be able to draw many things. I've drawn so many things, and basically what I've shown you here right now is all that I use. There are a few extra things like doing multiple, like creating a pattern and a few other things, but for starters you don't necessarily know how to do that. It'll just take you a little bit longer, but once you're comfortable with creating objects like this and 3D print them, you'll learn how to use this very quickly. Now if we wanted to 3D print this, all we can do is we can right click the body. You can also right click here, but then you're going to export everything. So if you have two bodies, it's going to try and export both. So let's say we only want to 3D print this body. We can right click on the body, you can say save as a mesh, and you can say make sure the refinement is set to high. I always put this on STL ASCII. I'm sure STL binary will also work, but I've never bothered to try. But I always put it on, leave it on ASCII, and I say okay, it'll bring up a menu where I want to save it, so I can save it on my desktop. And now if we open Kira, and yes, I like the very old Kira. We go file, load model from file, we go to our desktop, and I think it was called body. We didn't give it a name. No, it's the wrong one. Load model, and there's our body. So you may want to draw on a different face from starters, because now we still have to rotate this. So if we rotate it, and there's our object, we are basically ready to print it. I hope this tutorial was useful. If you have any comments, or you think I've done something wrong, let me know in the comments. Also let me know if it's been helpful. I like to help people and do these kind of things. It's real fun. Thanks guys. Cheers everybody.